Gamers, it's time to update our PvP arena tier list. I tried to do a goofy voice, kind of cringe. Anyways, we're updating our PvP arena tier list today, and we're going to be using this kind of like a spring cleaning as well, because there are some cookies and like some other tiers in this list, like not in like the higher tiers. They really need to be mixed around and moved down and moved up and stuff like that, based off the meta, which I haven't done. So yeah, we're going to make this the most accurate tier list yet that I believe to be so. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to start off with a meta tier first, and then move down from the meta tier all the way down to the D tier as far as changes goes. So yeah, so first things first, what I want to do, guys, is I want to move Finn actually from the meta tier down to the A tier, just because Stardust really cucks her, and it's not too fun to use Finn against any Stardust comps. So we're moving Finn from the meta tier to the A tier for that reason. You really don't see her much in arena anymore just because of Stardust, because he removes the ability to give your team buff. Also, one more change we're making, we're going to be moving down Sherbert from the S tier to the meta tier as well. Frost comp is still really good, but Frost comp is just not as viable as it was before, because of the new speed comp and stuff like that. So we're going to be moving down to the S tier. I still think he's really good. I just don't see him being in the meta, quote unquote, anymore. But that's really all the changes I'm making to the meta tier. We're just really making room up there for some other cookies to get pushed up to the meta tier. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the changes of the S tier now. Alright guys, so as far as changes to the S tier, we're going to be moving Gam, Booberry, Charles, and Black Pearl all down to the A tier. The reason I'm doing this is because none of these cookies are, I would say, meta or S tier in arena. Some of these cookies have like one comp they can be used in arena. Not to say that they're bad, but they're decent now. They're decent, but they're not like the best. They're like not like at the top anymore. Yam has a couple of comps that he's still used in, but he's just really countered by a lot of other things now. Booberry especially, you really only see her in one scam comp now, which is kind of phasing out of the meta. It's scam comps are just kind of dead. Black Pearl, same thing. Black Pearl's really only used in one scam comp now. And Charles is just really not used anymore, except for some counter comps to the new speed comp, because you can use them for stun, but you can also use other cookies for that too. So for that reason, I just can't see him being up here in the S tier anymore. So we're moving them down to the A tier for now. They could possibly get back up to the S tier for me, but for right now, I don't see that happening. They just don't work very well against speed comp, so we're going to be keeping her S tier for now, and if anything changes, she'll be moving down when we do this next tier list video, but we'll have to wait and see how that changes. Now we're going to be moving on to the sussy little A tier, the cookies that want to be S tier but aren't S tier. So we're going to be doing some spring cleaning here as well, which is absolutely amazing to me. So as far as the changes we're making, we're moving Crunchy, Oyster, Dark Cacao, and Eclair all down to the B tier now. And the reason we're moving Crunchy and Oyster down to the B tier is because summoners are really down bad with this speed comp. They get absolutely mollywopped by this speed comp. All the summoners are really going down this tier list. They've just been going down update after update. They've just been getting cucked every single update. Hopefully they make a comeback soon, because I would love to see them summoner comps back in the meta, or back even in relevancy even. So I hope to see that in the future, but as of right now, all the summoners are really just getting moved down one tier. Also, Dark Cacao and Eclair getting moved down just because you really don't use Dark Cacao much in arena. You maybe use them like last season in some scam comps or some triple tank comps, but just now with speed comp, it's just not really viable or not really even relevant anymore. Same with Eclair. Eclair's ability is really good, especially the increasing damage received by the enemies, but other cookies in the meta are starting to do this now, so it just kind of makes his ability less relevant, because they do more on top of doing that ability as well, if you know what I mean. But that's really all the changes we're making to the A tier now. Let's go ahead and hop into the B tier now. I know, I'm wearing something different now, because I realized I was wearing a yellow shirt on a green screen. So if you guys are seeing this part right here, that's a special little treat for you, because that means the yellow shirt didn't actually screw anything up, and I changed shirts for absolutely no reason. Anyways, on to the B tier. So as far as the changes to the people in the B tier, it's actually 5 cookies this time. And that's going to be Unicorn, Milky Way, Space Donut, Pumpkin, and Cotton Cookie. And the reason why we're changing it, like I said before, guys, all the summoners are moving down a tier just because speed comp cucks them even more, and they become less and less relevant with every update. Also, Space Donut and Milky Way are getting moved down because the scam comp from last season's really not that good right now in this current arena state, so they're moving down as well. And also Cream Unicorn is getting moved down because they're just kind of irrelevant at this point, and no one at all really uses them. There's much better healers in the game, and you really don't need to use them anymore. So that's the reason we're moving all of those down to the C tier. But hopping into the C tier, let's talk about everything we're moving down from the C tier to the D tier. And that's going to be Cherry Blossom, Kumio, Carol, Macaron, Milk, and yeah, that's really it. We're moving all those down to the D tier now, just because they are just honestly completely irrelevant at this point in arena. They can still definitely be used if you're a newer player, but they're really not that good to be used. So like I said, all those are getting moved down now, just to do a little just to do a little bit of cleaning for future updates and future seasons. When they get candies, it'll be a great jump for them when they move up, but right now, they're just not good. Now on to the D tier, which is actually really interesting. Madeline, Mala, and Latte all got a candy since we last did this tier list, so they're all moving up in the rankings, and that's what I kind of hope these cookies in the D tier start doing. I want to see all the cookies in the D tier and don't use tier get candy so they can get pushed up. So let's talk about it now. Madeline, straight to meta. Madeline is just absolutely broken, cracked, OP broken, and he does a lot of damage, like almost 7 to 8 million damage in some matches. So he is moving straight up from the D tier all the way to the meta tier. Absolutely slaps, absolutely claps. He is great with the new cookie, which we'll give our rating on a little bit later at the end of this video. And yeah, so that's why I'm moving him up. Also, Mala Sauce Cookie. Mala Sauce Cookie is actually surprisingly good. And if you guys saw my video that I did on all the counter comps to the new speed comp, she's actually on there, and I was genuinely surprised by how good she does in Arena now on this team. So yeah, for that reason, we're moving her from the D tier to the B tier because I feel like she's already really good on this team. Maybe if you get her level 30 candy, it'll be actually slapping on this team even more so. But as of right now, we're moving from D to B tier because I don't have level 30 candy to test that. But yeah, like I said, she really surprised me with the amount of damage she could actually take in battle. She doesn't really do much damage, but she can absorb a lot with full almonds, let me tell you. And she also acts as a second bait for Stardust too, which is PogChamp for me. And finally, Latte. I think we're going to be moving Latte up from the D tier to the C tier. I don't necessarily think Latte is really the best of cookies with their candy. They have one team comp that they are somewhat decent on, but you really need cracked cookies around her to make it work. And you really need her very high ascended and really good toppings for her to make it work. So that's why we're moving it from D tier to C tier, just because I think she's a little bit better in Arena now, and she is definitely more viable in Arena now than she was before, especially with the extra healing she does, and also the extra effects she does with poison cookies like Prune Juice cookie, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So yeah, I think it is a viable option, at least for one team in Arena right now. Could be more, but we'll have to wait and see that. And finally, in the don't use category, we're actually moving Chile up from don't use to C category. With her buff, she actually becomes not like extremely bad, and I think she could be viable in Arena, especially for new players, because you don't have to get her candy. It's just really a base stat and like a change to her actual skill itself. So I think this could actually be really good for like newer players coming to the game. They get their free chili pepper, so that's why I'm moving them up from the don't use to the C category, because they're not as shit as they were anymore. So yeah, I think they could be used for lower level players in Arena. But with all of our changes out of the way, let's talk about the 3 new cookies we got added to the game. That being Capsaicin, Prune Juice, and Saber cookie, Amon cookie, whatever you want to call it. I call it Saber. So yeah, let's go ahead and start off with the cookie they added first, which is Prune Juice cookie and Capsaicin. Starting off with Prune Juice first, we're putting Prune Juice in the B tier just because it's like okay in Arena. There is like 1 or 2 Arena teams you can use Prune Juice with in Arena, but that's really about it. So I mean, they're viable for some teams, but they only work on those teams specifically. They're not like a core of a team or anything like that, so that's why I'm putting them there for that sake. Also, Capsaicin cookie up to meta because Capsaicin's pretty good in Arena. I don't think he's like the end-all be-all in Arena, but I think he is definitely still meta in Arena. He might be falling off soon because I think some other super epic cookies are better than him. But for right now, Capsaicin is in meta tier. He's used as a core on the Capsaicin and Hollyberry team, and he can also be used on speed comp as well as a secondary tank, especially if you don't have your Saber like up to like a 5-star or above. He can really help out against some of those Hollyberry Capsaicin teams where Stardust will target you. So yeah, we're moving up to meta. And finally, Amon cookie. Now Amon cookie is a little bit suspect for me, and you guys might not agree with this take, but we're gonna go for it anyways. Amon cookie is going to S tier and not meta tier, and because of one reason. I find Amon to really only be like a supporting cast or a supporting unit for Madeline Cookie. I feel like Madeline Cookie is so good on its own, you could actually use him in another team without Amon Cookie, but I don't feel like you could use Amon Cookie on any team without Madeline Cookie, and for that reason, I'm putting him in S tier. Now, I could be completely wrong, and this take could come to bite me in the ass later in the future, but for right now, that's what my thoughts are on Amon Cookie. I think she's really good in Arena, but I feel like she is only good when supported by Madeline. And if you guys have any thoughts about that, leave them in the comments below. Anyways, guys, that's going to be the changes we're making to this tier list today. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about this tier list, leave them down below, and I'll get back to you about my criticism. I like arguing with people, and I like having debates with people, so let's do that. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Make sure you subscribe because we're trying to push 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, that's gonna do it. Bye, guys. Let's see you later. Bye.